or we're getting out of spring and getting into the summer period. It appears as if it's going to be quite a hot summer this time around. And I do around so as to keep it nice and cool. And of course, we have to exercise caution and restraint. We do not throw bottles and cans and other things which could light when the sun hits them, and that causes confusion. People who smoke cigarettes or just smoke some other things and they just throw the butt in the bush and it catches fire. And Bahamians, you know, we're extremely limited when it comes to firemen. That's one. We're extremely limited when it comes to resources and equipment. And we have to work with what we have until those who are in charge make certain decisions on our behalf. We can make suggestions to them, and sometimes some good suggestions fall on deaf ears and the leaders do not listen. But there's a way to get them to listen if Bahamians will utilize their rights, their freedoms, their privileges. I think in a lot of cases we don't do that. I'm going to wait for my special guest who should be coming in very soon. There are some specific things he's going to take the lead in. I'll wait for him to come to be able to do that. But while I wait for him, I'm going to continue on because, you know, with me, I tell you, if you mind me, I'll talk till Christ come back. There is no end to issues that affect the Bahamian people. We have so many things crowding in on us today. We shouldn't have it. We have two political parties that are well experienced. One could be 70 years old next year in the House of Assembly, in the Senate, in the government, in and out of government, in and out of opposition. 70 years, Bahamians. And you need to check the record of that particular political party and ask two basic questions. What major constituency problems have they solved over the last 70 years in the particular constituencies that they've had parliamentary representation? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the constituents in those constituencies over the last 70 years. That's the kind of question you should be putting out there. But it looks as if our media people can't think. They don't even know how to ask good questions. Let us put their record to the test, Bahamians. Let's hear from them what the answer is. You've been there knocking around for 70 years, going on to next year. You've been in and out of government. You've been in and out of the court system, my God. Chief Justice and judge and all kinds of things. And you have to ask yourself, after all of that time, 70 years, uninterrupted representation in the House of Assembly and the Senate from day one. And guess what? They're still there. You have to ask yourself, what have you done, political party? You were given tremendous authority, tremendous power, wide-ranging powers. And you can't show any, they should have solved 70 major national problems over the last 70 years. One a year. And the same thing applies to the constituencies where they represented people, where they had the support of the people. And that's been going on for 52 years, Bahamians. When you count from independence, you count from 67, you're looking at 58 years. 58 years and a half up to July 10th of this year. And Bahamians, this is what you have. And a lot of you don't even go back and check the record. Some of you have forgotten who these particular personalities were. Every single one of them can be accounted for. Do you know that? The record is there to show who they were, how long they stayed, what office they had, what authority they were given to do it. What did they do with the authority they had in their hand? We shouldn't be having all this multitude of problems today. What have we learned? What has the government of Bahamas learned? What has the opposition learned? Because you've had this tremendous exchange moving from opposition to the government, then back to the opposition, then back to the government for 58 years with this particular political party. The other one more than 50 years, counting all the way back from 1972. Prior to that was a different party. And then you had a split in that party, but was there for 70 years. And then you had those who called themselves free at the time. They link up with some other fellas who were in a different party. And that has never been a good mixture. Even up to today, it's not a good mixture. There's always been friction and division in that other party. The one was knocking around for 70 years, a little bit more secretive with their deceit, with their strange behavior. They're more subtle. One is a little more brassy than the other. The other one, sneaky. But that's how they play the game. And you, as members of the electorate, have fallen for it every single time. Mr. Craig Flowers was on air today. I listened to some of the things he said on Love 97. And he was asked a pertinent question, about leadership. Do you know of any prime minister, present and past, who had anything that he would die for the Bahamian people? Do you know that, Bahamians? Do you know of any prime minister who's ever been that way, from Pinling right on up to this particular personality we have now? Can you honestly say that we have had prime ministers who would give their lives for the Bahamian people? And they've demonstrated it. This is what Craig Flowers said leaders ought to be doing. Something to die for. You know anything that Brave Davis would like to die for? That's the current Prime Minister now, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis. Let me give him all his props. Look at the way he's governing the country and ask yourself, is this particular personality is willing to die, give his life for the Bahamian people? Now you think about that, Bahamians. A genuine leader following in the footsteps of Jesus Christ is willing to take on the burdens and the sorrows and the pain and the agony of its people, put it on his back, and get the job done. That's what a true leader does. Now, when they don't do that, that's why you have to know whether you have a righteous prime minister or you have a wicked prime minister. The facts are right out there in the open. You have to know whether you have a righteous cabinet or a wicked cabinet. You have to know whether you have a righteous Senate or a wicked Senate. Do you have a righteous Governor General or a wicked Governor General? Do you have righteous parliamentarians in the House of Assembly? Senators are also parliamentarians. Let me make that clear. Do you have a righteous representative in the lower house? Or do you have wicked representatives in the lower house? Bahamians, the coast is clear, I don't see why we should be dabbling in foolishness and nonsense instead of making some sound decisions, because we have to save this place from destruction. We have all kinds of problems in this place. And things are out of whack, Bahamians. Who do we turn to? Who do we trust? We have never given God a chance. And God say, give me the opportunity to help you. And we have been ignoring God for 52 years. We started out good, with Sir Lyndon Pindling and those who were with him at that time. He had about 6 years to prepare before independence. And they meant well, gave us a wonderful constitution, along with the elders at that particular time. They had the white paper, no, the green paper, then the white paper. Then they had the election. And for the first time in 1972, September the 19th, you ain't going to find that on Google, Google don't know that. September the 19th, 1972, young people, 18 years old, were able to vote and usher in independence along with senior members of the country at that time. It was a smooth transition. Even when the white minority government fell on January the 10th, 1967, that was a smooth transition. 4 days later, Sir Lyndon Pindling went to Government House on the 14th January and was called to form a government. And there was dancing and rejoicing in the streets from the 10th to the 14th, and I think even after the 14th, people were happy. You could see the light in their eyes, the contentment they had. Because the people at that time felt relieved that someone who looked like them would help them. That's what they were hoping for. But that was short-lived. But we did come into independence, July the 10th, 1973, with a wonderful constitution. And the people again rejoiced. They had high hopes. July the 10th, 1973. And the people wanted a nation with God involved in our national affairs. They never wanted to fool down with no foolishness now. They didn't want a nation without God. Now look what has happened today. I don't know. We seem to be so lost now. We don't know our left hand from our right hand. We know our left foot from the right foot. When the man say turn left, you turn in right. When the man say go ahead, you go backward. When the man say go east, you go west. We've lost direction, Bahamians. The country is in trouble, deep-rooted trouble, which has been building up 58 years since majority rule. Now, there have been some bright spots. And there were some who did some things to help the nation, but it was short-lived. We are so far off now, as far as the east is from the west, as far as the north is from the south. I heard O.B. Ferguson, the president of the TUC, Trade Union Congress, and he was talking about the memorandum of misunderstanding, because that's what it is, Bahamians. He called it a memorandum of understanding that was signed with the opposition at that time, the PLP, Progressive Liberal Party, in opposition. And they agreed to some things. Now, I haven't seen the details of the memorandum of understanding. There were some unions who didn't sign it. And it has been said, I don't know how true it is, but it has been said that there were certain ones in the TUC who signed on to the agreement. I would have thought they would have gotten the approval of the rank and file members of the union, the TUC. Now, I'm not quite sure how that really went down, but Mr. O.B. Ferguson say that these people haven't lived up to the agreement. Now, I respect Mr. Ferguson. I believe what he said. I don't think he would deliberately and intentionally tell lies. I don't think so. He's a respected union leader of the highest order. Now, some people felt he made a mistake or his union made a mistake signing this memorandum of misunderstanding. That's actually what it is. You thinking one thing and that party thinking something else different. So now the PLP came to power, and according to Mr. Ferguson, the memorandum of understanding, the party has not fulfilled its obligations. And then when you listen to those in the government, you hear about all these contracts they signed, and paper will stand still and let you write crap on it. And the paper won't answer, you know. The paper can't talk. But we heard about all of the agreements, and they still have problems with labor. You mean to tell me in 2025, the PLP has been in the House for 70 years next year, 70 consecutive years without missing a beat. Do you understand that, Bahamians? That's the kind of confidence the Bahamian people gave that particular political party. And what have they done with it? 70 consecutive years, Bahamians, without missing one session in the House of Assembly and in the Senate. Always had representation. Now, the other party, well, they had their challenges too, but they've been there for decades too. So the electorate has been doing this dance between this party and that party. 35 seats in one election went to one party. 35 seats out of 39. Bahamians, how many more seats do you want? You get 35. You should be able to solve all the problems in the country with 35 seats. Now, this crew got 32. And I don't know of them solving any major national problems since they gained power in September of 2021. I don't know. You need to tell me. I've been asking the question. What major national problems has the administration of the current government solved on behalf of the Bahamian people? And these are the clear-cut benefits. I ain't talking about what you try to do. That don't count. Because when a problem is solved, a national problem has been solved, there are clear-cut benefits that come to the people. What are these clear-cut benefits? But no one knows, can't answer the question. And that's the kind of question you need to keep asking Bahamians. And let us see how they react to it. But you just ask some foolish questions which have no meaning, which have no purpose. Why are you sending people to the House of Assembly? To do what? Why do you have the current personality as Prime Minister? To do what? Just to make money? Just to fatten his own pocket? And enjoy all kinds of privileges and benefits and spend the people's money? Is that what it's all about? But we don't require of that particular personality any real solutions to real national problems. What's the point of having him there? To do what? Just to say you like him? Come on, Bahamians. You can't say you have the fellow in there because you like him. What kind of nonsense is that? Now we heard about SpaceX again. Come on, Bahamians. What kind of government do we have? The fella's doing all kind of crap in our airspace. Say the FAA. FAA means Federal Aviation Administration. And you're saying to us, you don't have any control. They are above us. They already drop a lot of crap in our water already. Most of it has never been recovered. We don't know the damage it has done to the seas and the islands of the Commonwealth of ours. Yet they send in a piece of crap up again. What if it blows open again over the Bahamas? Because it happened before. And say they can clean it up. We're supposed to be satisfied with the crap they do. And you have no say. Another government has say over our airspace. Anything go all the way up to heaven as our space Bahamians? You think we could do that in the United States? Tell them you go so many feet up, so many miles up, then we take over the rest. Is that the way we're supposed to operate? How sovereign are we, Bahamians? Are we allowing others? See, this is why I always have a difficulty with the so-called international things. What input do we have into these crappy things that work against us? I hear it on the news. We ain't got no say. And the fellas are flying over our airspace and dropping all kind of crap. Where you think you can land? Right in the ocean, right on the islands. You think you can stay up there in the air? No, you can fall right down. And large chunks of trash fell into our oceans. And we can be satisfied talking about they can clean it up. They ain't clean up nothing. Even the water, right at our key, and the bend right there on West Bay Street and Saunders Beach. Babies, you all got to understand these things, because we don't have a government that seems to have any sense to protect the interests of the Bahamian people. We have a weak, ineffective government when it comes to protecting our interests, Bahamians. It's Article 24.1. Maybe we got to get out there and protect it ourselves. Because we can't wait on this crew. They put it right out there in the open. They ain't got no say. What kind of crap is that? We letting the fellas put all kind of junk in our airspace. But somebody else got some say. Federal Aviation Administration. I don't know of no such law in the Bahamas. But that's what they tell me. FAA belongs in the United States territory, not in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So how could we be so stupid and so foolish to sign a piece of crappy agreement where you have no say? All the space, all the way up to heaven where God is, that's ours. The hell I get somebody else on. We don't even know how to negotiate sensibly in our own best interests. It just shows you how weak and how puny and how foolish. I want to use another word, but I'll leave that word out. With our leaders who are running things right now, Philip Brave Davis, the Prime Minister, and those are the cronies he got in his cabinet. They don't seem to have any friggin' sense, man. When I heard that yesterday, I heard it last night, I heard it this morning, I heard it before I came here, I said, well, what kind of crap is this? Say the thing's supposed to be 7:30 tonight. What if it explode again? And drop on people's homes? You can wait till death, mayhem, misery, pain, and then you can say, let's go see what they could give us. And the family got one dead people on the road, dead people in the house, dead people in the water, dead people on the land. You wanted to get like the Gaza Strip because the Israelis, they say they can take over there. And now they got all kinds of trouble. The people fighting over food. Do you understand how serious this crap is? You're going to wait until we are going to have to grovel in the ground for a piece of crappy piece of bread before we wake up and have sense? We're going to wait till SpaceX blow up our place before we realize we got a problem? Then you say, we wasn't expecting that. And then I heard a stupid news person who ought to have sense. Let's just hope nothing happened. What do you mean, let's just hope nothing happened? When you don't even have a sensible agreement to work with. You're allowing others to control you and use our airspace for their own personal benefit, not to the advantage of Bahamians. Because they got all kind of junk in our water now from the first explosion 2 months ago, and they ain't getting up yet. We don't seem to understand the long-term effects. See, when God said it in the book of Genesis about these wicked people, what did he say about them? They wanted to get to heaven, just like these creatures today. God told them, now listen, I ain't gonna have no more flood on y'all. You ain't got to worry about that no more. They don't believe God. They said, no, no, no. We want motorized towers. We're going to heaven. That's the scheme of the devil. God says now nothing would be restrained from them. Our government doesn't listen to scripture, you know. Nothing would be restrained. See, God told us this thousands of years ago. Nothing would be restrained from them what they have imagined to do. They have imagined to take over our airspace and use it to their own selfish pursuits, to the detriment of the Bahamian people. And we got a government sitting right there on their backsides, can't even stand up for us and say, no, no, no. You keep that crap over there in the United States. Don't bring that over here. We got what kind of crap is this? We don't even have good negotiators. You know how upset I was when I heard that foolishness 4 times. It's etched right in my psyche. And a lot of reports have been written about it. And that's not the end of it, Bahamians. We have very weak leaders in our country who are not working in our best interest. That's the harsh reality we have to face. Now, we as the electorate have to do something about that. Because we can't keep operating like this. All we have a bunch of strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders walking in our airspace, taking it over. Oh, we can just send one rocket up there, let it go over the Bahamas. Whatever happens, happens. Let it go over California and blow up California. Or some other state they got over. They got plenty of space over there. Why the heck we want them to come over here? And then they say they give one funny report, you know. I got to get a copy of that report. Said our other space thing, what they're doing, say they can continue with that foolishness. They're supposed to have 20 of them. How could we be so stupid to talk about 20 consecutive landings in the Bahamas? What kind of nonsense is that? You already have problems now. Can't even get the report after the damage has been done. You talk about you pause. That's supposed to be canceled altogether. Tell them carry that crap elsewhere. Because once the damage is done, you killed Bahamians, you can't bring them back. Do you understand how serious that is? You see what Putin is doing there with the people in Ukraine? President Trump, that's his name. President Trump is very upset with Putin. See, all the man doing is killing people. And no one has yet rose up against Putin to stop him. Stop this foolishness. Stop killing off these people. Ukraine is under enormous pressure. Ukraine is right next to Russia. All the suckers did come across the border and invade Ukraine. And the man, the president of Ukraine, I don't remember what his name is, but he was out there trying to get support for the protection of his people. Bahamians, you see these things on the news, you hear it, but you don't seem to understand how dangerous this world is. This is a dangerous world. We got some wicked people having authority in their hand, and they use it to destroy people. I don't think that people in the United States are any better off. They got wicked carnal nature in their hearts, Bahamians, talking foolishness and nonsense. But the FAA got jurisdiction. What kind of crap is that? When I heard that, I was very upset about that. FAA. I don't know no law about. I look at my Constitution. I see it. I say, where does FAA come from? I know that's some funny thing they have over there in the United States to deal with airspace. But this is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So they're shooting this crap over the Bahamas instead of over California, instead of over another part of the United States. This is the way they think, Bahamians. God says nothing would be restrained from their wicked, evil minds. See, God told us that thousands of years ago. You think we've listened to God? We can wait until tragedy strikes when it cannot be reversed, and we got a small population. Come on, Bahamians. We need some strong leaders, you know. We ain't got none now. We got weak-kneed, puny, clumsy leaders. I will use some other words, but I can't use them. They won't allow me to. But that's all right. I could find another way of expressing it. The point is, Bahamians, you got to get serious about saving this country because this administration can't do it. All they're doing is making more problems and problems and problems for the Bahamian people and pretending as if they're doing things okay. I can talk about the labor thing, but I have my guest here. He's waiting for me. I tell him I'll talk till Christ come back. The point is, Bahamians, we have very serious problems. We got to solve them. Do not expect this administration to do it because they can't. They don't have the knowledge of God. They don't listen to God. God is not in their knowledge. God is not in their understanding. This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813. I think that's what it is. 813-0271. Famous, I want to hear from you, you know. But you got to organize yourself. You ain't sure how to do that? I'll come and help you. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. Amen. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I am so delighted the Lord caused me to be a citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You think I won't be citizen with them other funny people talking foolishness and nonsense? They can't straighten out their own affairs. But we got leaders in here who are doing some crappy things. We need some strong leaders, Bahamians. We need it urgently now, today. I was so delighted with that caller yesterday. I said, I need 150,000 like you. Do you know we had 150,000 like him who are registered citizens in this country? You think this government would be in power today? They would be gone today. Not for no time, for no election. No. You stay there until we are satisfied with you. When we're satisfied with you, we got to move you out of the way. Article 24.1 doesn't stop. It didn't say every 5 years. People got to stop talking foolishness and nonsense. We can move at any time, day or night, to do what? To protect our interests. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have to do some unusual constitutional authority. You ain't seen nothing yet. Because we got some sick people running things in this place. They ain't got no sense, man. The crap I heard 4 consecutive times, yesterday and today. Give me a break, man. It's on the news. I listened to them. I said, well, what kind of foolishness is this? But this is the government of Bahamas doing this nonsense. We have no genuine protection. So now what are we going to do? We got to find it, baby. We got to find righteous leaders who can run things the way God said it must be run, the way the Constitution said it must be run. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. You see any rejoicing around here? You see Obi Ferguson rejoicing over anything? You see Labour leaders rejoicing over anything?
That's right.
Ain't no rejoicing. You see any constituents rejoicing over anything? I gave you all, and I'm going to let Brother Halle come on right now. Let me just make this point. I told you, July the 8th of last year, give Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson 18 months to solve one major constituency problem. Just one. I want to set an example on the ground. But then you got to give me the authority to act. If you sit on your backsides and keep grumbling and complaining, you say, let's give Professor 18 months. Just give me my 18 months. And that one can get fixed. Because first of all, you need righteous people to head the team, Bahamians, not wicked people. That's the mistake you've been making for 52 years, man, and more. 58 years, go all the way back to January the 10th, 1967. 58 years. I just asked you for 18 months, but you gave them 58 years to do foolishness and nonsense. And I told you they have to be righteous. Then 51% or more of you in that particular constituency must be righteous in your dealings one with another. You know why that is important? You will be a buffer against any wickedness that anyone would try to perpetrate on you in your particular constituency. You say, no, sir, that ain't happening in here. We're enjoying this benefit. We ain't going to let you mess this up. Then you could solve the other problems you have in there. I just want to do one. Because I know it could be done. Biblically sound, legally sound, constitutionally sound, lawfully sound. I've done my homework, Bahamians. Now you need to go and do yours. That's why I could say boldly what I'm saying now. Now I'm involved with one major national problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether this government cooperate or not, we will succeed with it. You have what I tell you? Because it doesn't depend on them. It depends on God, not them. That's what you need to get into your psyche, Bahamians. I don't need to depend on them to solve this one. Oh, that one can get solved. I ain't guessing about that. What you think about some of these fish fry constituency problems? Come on, Bahamians. All you're doing is holding yourself back with foolishness and nonsense. And then you keep grumbling and complaining every day. Thank God for that caller who called yesterday. I was supposed to call him yesterday again. I have his number. But caller, I can call you today. I do apologize for not calling you yesterday. The man made sense, man. I asked him where you learned them things from, man. He was right on point, right on target with every single thing that he said. I couldn't say nothing about what he said. That's the kind of thing we need, Bahamians. I need 150,000 like him. Turn this place right side up. Don't worry about this government, what they say there is government. There'll not be a government. Because we will get righteous people to run this place. Since they can't do it, no problem. We move you out of the way and put righteous people in place. That's the way you do business, Bahamians. That's what the Constitution tells you to do. So you ain't got to suck up to them and worship them as some of you do every friggin' day because you don't have any sense. You're so blind by the devil and demons, you worship flesh and blood, skin and bone. You think they woke you up this morning? Let me stop right here. Hyla, welcome to Global Radio Red, 99.5 FM. See, I'll talk till Christ come back, so I got to stop. Go ahead, Brother Hyla. Welcome.
Good day, Professor.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, but I'm upset about a lot of things because the government of the Bahamas is allowing a foreign nation to interfere with our airspace, and I don't like it.
Well, Professor, the Bahamian public is allowing the government to continue with this attitude.
Yes.
We are the biggest facilitators. We are the biggest enablers.
Yes.
As the general public through our silence.
Too silent.
You know, there's a cliche. It says, "Silent gives consent."
Yeah, oh, I heard that from as a child. Yeah.
You know, if somebody that should not be on your property come on your property, you're gonna address that.
Of course.
You're gonna say something. You're gonna do something.
You certainly will.
We have a whole union that allow a government to take all, if not most, of the pension money.
Yes.
And say we can let you all know what we're doing later.
What kind of crap is that?
They don't know.
Shit.
There are pensioners that do not know where the money is and when it's coming back.
Come to think about it, what about them people from city markets? Some of them in their grave now.
Yeah.
They ain't get their money yet.
That's very serious.
When they can get it.
It's very serious.
Even though I understand from what I was told by persons involved, they had court ruling,
Mm-hmm.
but they ain't get it.
And this goes on every day. Sunrise, soon as the sun sets, until 3, 4 o'clock, people burning and making coal in the neighborhood. What happened in the Bahamas, man?
I could tell you right off the top, that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, but what happens when you call the police? They say, we don't see nobody there.
What you mean they don't see nobody? They must be blind, eh?
But the big, you see the big flame, and then when you call the police, they tell you call the fire engine. Then when you call the fire engine, they tell you call the police. Then when you call the police, they say call the fire engine. Then when you call the fire engine, they say call environmental health. Mr. Vaughan Miller needs to put out a statement. They're letting people know that in residential area not supposed to be making coal.
That is true. Let me tell you something. We got what is called the East Street Police Station. Do you know the people of Fort Fincastle do not get any assistance from that police station? they will tell you to call elsewhere. They are never, ever there to help the people of Fort Lancaster. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
But I don't. Another thing again, you get people in residential area with the bars.
Yes.
They play music from they open up till 1, 2 o'clock in the night. You're paneling in your house shaking. What happened in the Bahamas, man? We like so outback safari. Everybody doing what they want to do. How we get like this?
Because of how we voted. That's Hyla's answer.
Oh,
That we voted for those who are thinking and expressing that they are supporting foreign nation to be inserted into the Bahamas. That's what we're having. We have a nation within our nation.
We have a government that is not constitutionally sound. That's the problem.
But what I'm saying too, when you're in a political power, or you're supposed to call shots in a nation,
Yes.
you say what the rules and the laws are, and if anyone disobeys, they are dealt with through the courts,
Right.
and whatever have you. But look like everybody doing their own thing, and nobody gives 2 cents about law and order.
That is what's happening. You're
Right.
correct. You're right on point. Because like
Right.
I said, we would
So
call.
this is like a kangaroo or a bull in the China store. Everybody just doing what they want, and most time it's not Bahamians doing it. How come the immigrant have so much power in our country, but we can't do it in their country or nowhere else?
Okay, you have a valid
Yeah.
point. Now, I'm going to put it to you this way. I've been saying from July of 8 of last year, when people asked me, said, Professor, what can we do? I gave a simple answer to the Bahamian people. There's a way to deal with it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now today, we may have to take some unusual constitutional authority in hand to get rid of this crap that we have in this country. Because, see, this thing is so deeply rooted in. We're going to have to go over and beyond the call of duty. And Bahamians got to be ready for this. That's why I keep saying to them, are you ready? If I could have fined 150,000 like that gentleman, that coal boiling would stop today. You won't have that. Neither would this government be in power today. They would be gone. Because we ain't waiting for you anymore. Your time is up. But no, we want to cower and do foolishness and nonsense and talk, peep behind the door. Oh, see that fellow out there, who that is. They want to hide in the dark and throw rock at you. Those who are out in the forefront, who are prepared to stand up. You think this Prime Minister is prepared to die for the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, for that which is good? Because this is what Mr. Flowers said, a leader. He didn't specifically speak to this particular personality, so let me make that clear.
Let me
I'm
ask
asking.
you something. I understand there's a Haitian flag in the front of Mr. Flowers' building. I wonder what's the story with that
What's that again? A Haitian?
flag on Mr. Flowers' premises out there, space with a big, big Haitian flag. It came over on the smartphone.
Where's his premises?
His office, main office downtown.
Headquarters across
Oh,
from
you
the
mean?
point.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
on
yeah.
Bay Street.
I almost forgot who it was. I think
Yeah.
they know now. I'm not aware of it. I'm just hearing about it now. But he
Yeah,
was
but
on air
it
today.
came over the smartphone. You see the big, big Haitian flag in the front of Flower Mart.
Well,
He must have sold the building, eh?
I don't know.
I doubt that.
Because you got one big building in front of where he is. You're blocking the view of the sea.
Well, it may be because of Flag Day.
Oh, okay.
It may be that he I don't know if it's true or if it's just an edited image, but he may have erected it for Haitian Flag Day last weekend.
Oh, okay. But
You
it's
know.
on his premises. As
That's
we
what the lady
understand
is
that.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the lady
I'll
is
probably
saying.
pass
Yeah.
that way and see if it's still up.
Yeah, no, we got to go check on that today when we
I
leave
could
from
check.
here. No, we go in there in person and see whether that is so. And
Yeah,
if we see
well,
Mr. Flowers,
send
if-
over WhatsApp.
we can ask to see if we could see Mr. Flowers and ask him what's the purpose of that crap up there. Because he was on it, and happy birthday to Brother Flowers. He is a senior man in the country. I respect all my elders. So we give him those props.
Mhm.
And he said when he came back home, he had $4 million in his pocket. He was a millionaire from the time he came back right on up to now. But he is one who is concerned about the future of this country, and that's good. I'm happy to see that we have a senior man who has made his wealth, earned his wealth. He didn't steal it. He worked for it. He just got to show me how to get like him, and I'll be okay. I can ask him that when I see him.
Okay.
But I thank you for your contribution. Okay, all the best. Okay. No, but
Yeah.
the thing is that Mr. Flowers was on, and happy birthday, Mr. Flowers. And some people called in and wished him happy birthday. I want him to hang on until he's supposed to be 80 something, I believe. But he got to go on. He sounds very strong. We want him to get 100 and beyond. One lady told me on Saturday she wanted to live to be 127. She's in her 80s. She might be just the same age as Flowers or a little younger. But she wants to be like Sarah, 127. And I said, good, because we need to keep the elders alive. We don't want them to pass off the scene because they have a lot of wisdom. Miss Flowers has a lot of wisdom and understanding. And we're going to need that to build the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. He's very much interested in the country. I think he's very sincere. He is honest and open, and I appreciate his frankness because he said some very interesting things today. But what stood out is when he said what a real leader would be like. And that's why I asked the question, do you think this prime minister has anything to die for? Or is he looking for another term? I know he's looking for another term. But does he qualify to get another term? Talking about he want another 5 years. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Anyhow, Brother Hyler, go ahead.
Yeah, Professor, it is very serious that we see another culture getting stronger and stronger
Yes.
every day,
And the lady is correct.
you know, within our borders. And it just seems like Bahamians are at the back of the line.
Yes.
And this is the opposite. I heard you, as you opened up the show, you spoke of where we came from under Sir
Yes.
Lyndon.
Yes.
And you said we started out good, you know.
Yes, we did.
Now, why haven't the Bahamian people recognized that we appear to be heading in the opposite direction?
That's a good question.
And let's be specific. When you look at policies and laws, the politicians of today, both major parties, are really the opposite of Sir Lyndon.
Yeah, they are.
Why don't we have that conversation? They're the opposite. The early four founders were all about Bahamianization.
Bahamianization. that is
Bahamians
correct.
first. That was the policy. Bahamianization. Nothing and no one ahead of
Of the Bahamian,
Bahamian
yes.
citizens. No one owning any land over Bahamians.
Bahamians,
If
yes.
it's anything, you can lease the land
That's
and
it.
Bahamians gonna own it.
Own the land.
If you
yes.
come into this nation, you're gonna find a Bahamian to partner with,
Yes.
and you're gonna increase and become wealthy together.
Yes.
But instead, after 25 years of building up the Bahamas, every single year after Sir Lyndon was a process of breaking down
Breaking
the work
down
of the four
everything-
founders.
Everything that he strove and built up.
And Prime Minister Philip Edward Davis is in rare form doing the exact opposite of Sir Lyndon Oscar Binlin
Yes, he is.
while running the party that was famously led by Sir Lyndon.
That's correct.
Sir Lyndon said, you know what, we're going to have the Hotel Corporation
Yes.
of the Bahamas.
That's right. And he raised it up.
He raised it up. We owned the Cable Beach Hotel,
Yes, we did.
and we were expanding into other areas.
Other areas, yes.
Bahamian ownership. And as soon as Sir Lyndon left office,
Yes.
Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram came right behind him with the Immovable Property Act.
And that needs to change.
I said, you know what? The foreigners are going to own the land in the Bahamas.
And we're working for the foreigner.
The Privy Council came out and stated, related to the Quieting Titles Act,
Yes.
that the the law, the way it was structured, could be used to steal land.
That's correct.
And it was used to steal land.
It's still plenty land.
And it's still happening.
It is still happening. And I'm talking with a particular personality, and I'm sure he might be listening to the show now, which I met a couple of days ago. And I do hope that that individual will give me a call today, because Bahamians, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do because our country is being invaded by strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders, and the government of the Bahamas is complicit with this foolishness. They're the ones who are enabling these strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders to get the upper hand in the Commonwealth. Now, Bahamians, you got to fight them. You got to fight them. The very people who you gave authority to. This is what I keep saying all the time. The very ones in the House of Assembly, the very ones in the Senate, the very ones in the cabinet, the very ones who have high positions who they create for. Former commissioners got all kind of high position in this place. Instead of going home, go mind the grandchildren. Huh?
Professor, I want to express to the Bahamian people that right now, our government is working on land reform in 2025. But in 1973, discussions were held in the People's Parliament. From 1973, they were discussing land reform. They put bills forward. But even in the case of Linden, now Linden did a lot of building up. But one of the areas that Linden did not build up was a land registry for the Bahamas to secure every family. See, if the Crown grant land to a family, if the land came from the Crown and went to Sidney Thompson, who was to dispute that? Professor, you know how many families walking around here with people straight from the Crown?
Yes.
Don't have a dollar to their name?
That's right.
All they have is a story that daddy or mommy left me with this.
Right.
And beyond that, before him, his daddy.
Yes.
And then you see where it come from the Crown right to granddaddy.
Right to granddaddy, yes.
You
and
take
right
it
on down.
right on down.
Right.
Yet, you take it to a law office here in Nassau or a court in the Bahamas, and you cannot access that property.
That has to be fixed. You have to fix that.
Well, after the break, we could read some of the article
because
quoting the Prime Minister.
Yeah, we can read them. Yeah, we got to say what the man say. We ain't gonna be lying on it. If we talk foolishness, he talk crap. We have to say that's what it is. We're not going to say anything else. But we know that this particular administration cannot help us at all. All we have to do is look at the SpaceX crap that's going on now. They already blow up in our airspace, and you still have these suckers coming over here and saying another air authority has jurisdiction over our airspace. You hear any foolishness like this? Where did this come from? FAA has nothing to do with authority in the Bahamas. I don't see it in my constitution.
That's what we agreed to.
We agreed to that foolishness.
We get a mile and a half or so, and they get the rest straight up to high heaven.
Yeah, but that can't be. That's not. We don't have that in the United States. See, this is the weakness of a government. When we give people this power to run our national affairs, we got to change that. We cannot keep going this way at all. Now, we have an opportunity to change it. I wish we could do it today. If we had 150,000 like that fellow who called in the show yesterday, we could change it today. We ain't got to wait until later. There's some things, Bahamians, you have to do. You have to take unusual constitutional authority. And it's right in the document for us to wait with. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. The lines are wide open, 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. FM. Bahamians, it seems like we have a never-ending slew of problems. Now, we're supposed to have intelligent people who have sense. They're supposed to be well educated. In fact, they are better educated today in 2025 than they were in 1025. And sometimes I wonder if we haven't gone backward instead of going forward. People today are not honest. Even when they write things down, they try to work around it and don't want to keep their agreement. This is a problem. We have people with carnal minds, Bahamians. Always remember that. When God tells you the carnal mind is enmity against him, you better believe it. Enmity against God, it is not subject to the law of God. It doesn't want to keep God's 10 commandments. God stopped right now after he wrote 10 laws. These fellas today, they got all kinds of laws. They redraft this law, that law, the next law. All you got tons of laws, all kinds of laws. That's why I tell you, we got to go through each one of them. Famous, I need a team of people to help me with that. And it costs money to do these things. But we have to do it, Bahamians, because this is the craft we got in front of us. Electricity Act is just one of the most recent ones, which they are not following, Bahamians. And there's some others too. But we got to go through and dig into them. These are statute laws now. We ain't talking about constitutional law, because they ain't going by no constitutional law. I can tell you that right off the top. The way they behave and conduct themselves, and since you don't know the Constitution, then they get away with all this foolishness because you're not there to say it is not so. And you're not prepared to stand up and fight it. That's your particular party. You like this one, you like the next one. And all they're doing is throwing a bunch of crap on top of you. They must be able to stop this foolishness. You can't go by who you like. The point is, we got serious labor problems in this country. We got serious crime problems in this country. I ask again about the Royal Bahamas Police Force. What major national crime problems has the Royal Bahamas Police Force solved on behalf of the Bahamian people? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the Bahamian people as a result of major crime problems having been solved by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. They got all the technology, they got the money, they got the resources, and they can't solve no crime. We still have people out there killing one another, you know. How come that's happening? We still got people out there raping, and the rapes are just so frequent, man, all over the Bahama Islands. Come on, man. Even on Harbour Island, they got raped. All kind of molestation of children. Where did this foolishness come from? Every time I turn around, I turn on the news, I read in the paper, some foolishness, some rape. Police officers are all caught up in this foolishness. So how come all this is happening, Bahamians? All we got are problems, man. So please give me my opportunity. Give me my 18 months. Let me solve one major constituency problem. Just one. I want to set an example, but I need your cooperation to get it done. Those fellas, they asked you for no cooperation. All they did was squandered and wasted billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars over the last 58 years. And you sit right back and let them do that crap on you. And then I'll tell you, make sure you choose a righteous person to be your next representative. Don't fool around with these slunkers, man. They can't help you. SpaceX proves that the fella's going to have this foolishness 7:30 tonight, I think they say it's supposed to be. And then the other fella in the other station, he says, let's hope nothing happens. What you mean, let's hope nothing happens? And they need no permission from us to do this foolishness in Bahamian airspace. Because all the junk can fall in our airspace. Ain't gonna fall in America's airspace. And the untold damage it is doing to our people. sickness, disease. These things don't happen immediately, instantly, but over a period of time, you're going to see it, Bahamians. Just like what happened in Grand Bahama. In those settlements outside of Freeport. And people are still hurting today. And guess what the people did? They never got together to take action. See, that's what I blame you people for, man. You sit on your backside. Do not use your constitutional authority to protect your interests. And that's what gets me upset. We have something in our hand to work with, what the Lord has put in our hand. Say, stop this foolishness and this nonsense. But no, you sit right there grumbling and complaining. Someone had called me the other day. I said, listen, let me say this straight to you. When it comes to a particular constituency, and that's a constituency problem, the people in that particular constituency, enough of them, have to get serious about doing something about it. Now, I'm not saying one or two individuals can't start the ball rolling. That could happen. I'd like to see that happen. And let's add more interest to it and get the ball rolling, Bahamians. We're losing. The more you sit on your backside and do nothing, the country just keeps going deeper and deeper into trouble. That's what's happening right now. Brother Hyler, go ahead.
Well, Professor, that's the purpose for me being here.
Yes.
While you teach and while you encourage people to agitate, take action, because we have problems and the problems are increasing.
Yes, they are.
And if we do not take action against these problems, the problems will increase.
Yes.
We came up out of oppression. As a people, we come up out of oppression.
Yes.
We are heading back into
that.
oppression.
That's right.
We are oppressed right now.
Right now. Right now.
We are oppressed. If we want to be realistic, we are oppressed, and we do not have leadership that is lightening the load and easing the pressure. It's not happening. Whether it's lack of fire engines, working fire engines, whether it's lack of ambulances, whether it's issues, the family island, lighting up the air, the runways.
All they have to do is put reflectors on them. They ain't got to use no light from no truck.
Professor,
But if they have sense, man, you mean tell me they ain't got enough sense to put anyhow reflectors there? Like I was driving the United States several years ago, and all they had was reflectors on either side of the road, in the middle part of the road, and highlight. It was like daylight.
Okay.
You could see exactly where you were going
With reflectors.
with the reflectors.
Not even a large expenditure of money.
Not even a large expense of money, which is true. You mean to tell me on all these family islands we can't put reflectors? So the lights of the plane, when it hits the reflectors, they will see exactly where they're going. And they don't have to run off in the bush. Come on, man. All you see is a bunch of tar or rock in front of you. I mean, no wonder why we get into so many accidents.
You heard what the report came from the family island was. Some of the runways overgrown.
Overgrown, yes.
Not just on the side, on the runway.
On the runway itself. I mean, how we get like this? See, this is what I keep saying about parliamentary representation. We haven't had it in 52 years. As an independent nation, we certainly don't have it in Centerville. Although I hear the fellow say he putting up one building somewhere. That's not parliamentary representation.
Now, Professor, I just read an article. Mr. Jomo Campbell say we will soon have eggs in hand from the Golden Yolk program.
But I think some things are above his head, so I will excuse him on that one. Okay, he's a junior to this kind of business. He just come. So I got lighten off on him with that. But now his parliamentary representation, he needs to improve on that. Because I have to call him and tell him I want to speak to him so everybody could hear what kind of questions I ask him. I will ask for his cooperation in that. I want to talk to him privately. I want the people in Fort Fincastle to hear. I want the people in Centerville to hear. I want the nation to hear.
Well, it's a good time to ask because you could always get politicians to come and talk to you when the election is close.
Well, let's put it this way. I will ask him. because I want to have a direct conversation with him.
Yeah.
So the people will hear what he says. I want to talk to him behind no closed doors.
I
Say,
understand that.
Brother Campbell, I into that foolishness. I want to talk to you
Mhm.
where the public could hear exactly what you say and
Mhm.
exactly what I say,
Mhm.
and they could have it recorded and keep it until Christ comes back.
Mhm.
And they'll say, that's what Professor said. That's what Brother Campbell said.
Well, that's
So I'm going to
that's
wake on
that's
that.
on that issue. Wake,
Maybe
wake
we
on
can
that,
wake on it. Oh,
Professor. There's
yes.
plenty to wake on.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you need more hands involved with this thing, because
And if
it's
he
so much.
don't, I think he probably would cooperate. I'll
Mhm.
give him the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to that
Mhm.
golden yoke thing, that's above his head, man. He's a junior minister, even though they say he's a minister,
Mm.
a full-fledged minister. But
Okay.
when it comes to that, I kind of overlook that because he's young in this thing and
Mhm.
green. He's green like a cucumber.
So other than with his situation now,
Yeah.
because well, today is Hot Topics Tuesday,
Yes.
Professor. We end up talking about two things or maybe three because they are so weighty. They're so
Very
serious.
heavy. Yes.
You can't
Yes,
get
they
through
are.
everything. But
No, you can't.
let's look at some other things that's happening. You mentioned SpaceX, right?
SpaceX, yeah.
We going into a budget debate.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow.
That's
right.
major.
Yeah, that's a major thing, yeah.
Decisions could be made to relieve tension with taxes.
But didn't the man say
Mm.
ain't going to be no increase in taxes?
Well, Mr. Alkitis is reasserting that right now.
What does that mean?
Say there are no new taxes.
What's the definition? And anyone in the public out there could enlighten me on this.
Mhm.
What's the difference between a tax and a fee? Because all of them come from the state
Well,
government.
the only difference to me is they're on two different lines on the paper.
But isn't
Because
they tax?
well, when they tell you they're not going up on taxes, all of a sudden you see new fees coming
No
up.
fees. Or addition to some other taxes out
Professor,
there.
one particular bank said they have a record amount of profit that they're making.
Yes.
$86 million in profit. That's one bank. They've never made so much money. Look at what's going on in the community.
And the government of the Bahamas isn't protecting the interests of the people.
Something increase.
Massive increase.
Something increase.
And I think I heard the report on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about what you just said, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You put it there.
Some other serious things
Oh,
happening.
yes.
Professor, from yesterday, there's a power outage from Paradise Island. All the properties affected. I mean, I think we have a call coming in, but Paradise Island is off. I don't know if they're still off, but we don't hear from the relevant ministers when we have crisis like the whole island off.
Yeah.
Or when you have a crash, you hear from the prime minister, you hear from but Professor, you realize we don't get a basic, immediate press conference explaining the issue so we can know where we stand.
I'm going to get to that. I think we have a call on the line. I think my producer is saying, call you live on here. Go ahead, please. Call you live.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you? You have some righteous people. You have some righteous people for me today, right?
Professor,
you ain't got no wicked people for me today.
No, Professor, I can tell you, like I've been telling you, we got to get in to make it happen.
No, listen to me carefully.
No, Professor, we ain't got to go back there, man. We ain't got to go back there.
Okay.
All right? We just got to get rid of what we got in order to get what we need.
Okay.
Because obviously what we got for the past almost 52 years now ain't what we need. We need a change. Because if you put the same shit back in, you're going to get the same thing.
Okay.
So we need to go down that road no more.
Yeah.
The righteous will come once the wicked is out.
Okay.
How about that? Let's look at it from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing
now, moving right along. Mr. Hyler.
Yes, sir.
You just made a statement about the lack of ambulance and fire engines and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And the relative, what would you call them, representatives who are who those entities fall under.
Yeah.
And you never hear from them.
Yes.
That just goes to show, listen, that just goes to show they ain't on our right. They don't care. They blatantly showing the whole entire country They do not care.
Could I interject one quick thing to your point?
Please.
We had a crash in the Bahamas, and the suspension came over 1 month later. You could continue, but that's to your point.
Yeah.
Over a month later to respond to something?
And you know what they could say? Well, at least it's come.
No, that's not good enough. No, that's not
You
good enough.
understand me? And then again, look at the fire that took place on what's that?
On Bay?
Where those apartments? Yeah, the ones that well,
Elizabeth Avenue on Bay Street, yes.
Yes. Okay. You know what their response may be? Well, at least the fire engine showed up.
That's not
Yeah,
good enough.
but they had to close the whole airport. Do you know that news stories went into the cruise line news and tourism news? Do you know that there were stories that went around the world concerning that fire? It's embarrassing.
But what did they do? What did they do about it? Nothing. Or at least not to our knowledge.
They said they took a look at some new fire engines.
Oh, they took a look. Oh, wow. I wonder when the next fire comes, they could still be taking a look. Come on, man. Listen,
Wow.
let me try to get across to what I call for now.
Yeah, make it quick, Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, sad to say. The incident what happened on the island. I think that was either Crooked Island or Auckland.
Auckland's. Yeah.
Auckland.
Yeah.
Do y'all see the spirituality of that? We as Bahamians, we bring up our children in the way of the Lord, our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, we are truly fighting a spiritual battle.
Most definitely.
These persons who they bringing into our country, they are not of our God. And because they are not, and they are allowing them to come in with everything free, they are bringing their spirits that they worship over here. And I can assure you this, when would a child think of such a demonic thing to do to their parents?
They're serious.
Yes.
You got to look at this thing from a spiritual aspect. We are only flesh and blood. This is not going into the kingdom of God. It is your spirit. And yes, we are supposed to love thy brother as thyself. I love everyone, but the spirit that's in you, I have nothing to do with it. Suffer a witch not to live. And that is the spirit. And this is what we are fighting, Bahamians.
Definitely.
And y'all got the audacity to come and still talk about give either one of these parties another chance to do what? To finish you? They are allowing these spirits,
definitely
these demonic spirits. Let me just say them call them what they are. They are demonic spirits. We're supposed to be a Christian nation. Help me make that make sense.
We can't make it make sense, caller. I will interject once again. We saw on social media our uniformed branches entering homes, more than one. I believe it's more than two. Video circulating on social media with altars and all kind of strange things that would suggest spiritual activity, altars, witchcraft is what it looked like, and complete deafening silence. You know, whether government, whether opposition, whether Christian council. I got to put it out there. Silence.
Okay, caller. We appreciate your comment.
Professor, you need to deal with that more.
Yeah.
You know, put more attention on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to get the House of Parliament with righteous people.
Yeah.
But we need to get this spiritual aspect. We need to broadcast that. Because that is the root of all of our evil.
No, caller, I think you have a valid point. That we
Definitely.
have to put more emphasis on that.
Definitely.
Y'all have a blessed day.
I
You have a
appreciate
blessed
that.
day
And
too.
thank
You have
you
a
very
blessed
much for
day
your
too.
contribution.
Professor, let's do a general sweep at the different topic areas. Immigration, we have the national flag carrier bringing hundreds, weekly, there are estimates of, hundreds towards 1,000, and definitely it's like a constant flow
Yeah.
by air and by sea,
Okay.
and very little activity from the Bahamas concerning apprehending and returning these persons. And the Bahamian public is really not in favor of this.
No, they are not.
But I still think everybody needs to speak up more. You
No,
really
they
need
have
to
to.
express yourself.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to see if I could get the man from Bahamas there on the show so we can talk with him. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, sir. What you
Good
saying?
afternoon to guests and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Hey, good
Yeah.
day.
Professor, now we really got to tighten up on the Christian Council. He's a man. He looked the part, but guess what? I can show you where he gone wrong. Galatians chapter 1 and 8 and 16. He said, listen here, if anyone bring a different gospel from this, let him be accursed. And we start Christian Council, sit right down. I put it on them. I calling them out. Sit right down there. And these people, let people run in the House of Assembly and a Christian nation who can legalize marital rape. And the man then clears, they say, if anyone bring a different gospel and what we bring, these people and they don't like, they don't say they can't stand a little baby being born. That's why they say that you can't stand a little baby born. You can suck marital rape. They saying to the Bahamian people, you all record it. Because if you and your woman ain't having if you ain't no love making and ain't no love in your relationship, that you have to rape the woman, you got to be recorded to know your marriage is over. You need to get yourself a divorce.
Yes.
You got to be recorded. That's what they're trying to say, Bahamian man. They can sneak the same thing how they do them bikes. No one debate the bikes. Be walking around with your toilet tissue in your hand. No one said consumers have rights. No one said that.
No.
And plus, I can use this all the time. This happens all the time. Them Haitian people. Now, immigration, must say this first. Immigration officer, there's no flag there in Bahamas. You need to check out the taxi driving. All the taxi driver got their flag on the car. You need to check that out. But first, let me go back to my point. They sitting right there. Sit right there. All these people are going to nominate them to be a minister on a Christian nation. And these people do not believe in the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Yes.
So what we can do with that? We just can sit back there and like how them Haitian people let people say voodoo on them, and they sit back there and no one tell them why you all have all these Christian names. You all shouldn't bother with that. So I can leave that right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, that's a serious one.
No, I have to agree with the caller who just called before him.
Yeah.
We have to put
Yeah.
emphasis on the spiritual
Yeah.
issue. I
Definitely.
think he has a valid point with that. I also said that the other part will fall in place. Well, I spoke mostly to that quite often. And he said you must not forget the spiritual aspect of it because
Definitely.
it is rooted in spiritual wickedness.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to get some of the religious persons in here to talk about this. I'm thinking of one right now who I would call on after the show to see if I could get him in here probably the same week if possible. But we have to look at the spiritual makeup of our country.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening because we are so far off from what God is saying to us. We're not taking advice from the scriptures.
So we in trouble on the both sides, Professor.
But this is where it amounts to, yeah.
You saying we are not following our spiritual heritage.
No, we're not.
We are not following our constitutional heritage.
No, we know we're not following that. And this is what the caller just before the last said to me, that I have to pay attention to that. And I thank him for that because it may have been not emphasized and pushed, but now that he caused me to remember it, it's very, very important. We're going to have more shows on the spiritual condition of this country because we are in very serious trouble. I thank God for those people, those prayer warriors who are on the wall day and night around the clock 24/7. We have to support them because they're going to need support in order to keep doing the spiritual work that they are doing, because that is extremely important. And only by the mercies of God, this place is being held up right now.
Definitely.
That is very important.
Yeah,
This is
definitely.
Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson. I hear the music in the background. I hope this isn't the last break you're supposed to have. It is? Oh, it's going to the last one. Okay. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
Good afternoon. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson, again on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. This time it's going so fast. I was just getting ready to start. And then the man told me I'm in the last part of the show. The lines are open 3260271, 3260272, I think I got it right this time. 8130271. We can have the producer play a tape. We have to deal with the labor issue. It is a very big problem in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Mr. Producer, go ahead, please.
I don't know where we're going with this because that is on record. We can't run from that.
So would you still support them considering
Why
everything
wouldn't if the government carry out what they say they're going to do? That's why I say you for me, I for you. We're not opposed to the brave Davis. As a matter of fact, I have no difficulty with the Prime Minister. None whatsoever. But there are people who are, for whatever reason, they're trying to create a smoke screen and trying to make it appear as though we are against Brave. We signed a document where we want to honor it, but the minister, they have their own little private agenda, doing certain things, and so, oh, he's not with the PLP. Well, I can say that we have a document signed.
Oh, that's it. Okay, all right. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit more. I got caught
Professor,
off
you
guard.
right? You got caught off guard.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought
All
it
of
was
us
a
get
little bit
caught
more.
off guard because
Yeah.
we're still waiting on him to say something.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Professor, halfway through that, I started to think we need to listen to that again because he was asked the question, like, would he still support the government?
Yes, and he said he has no difficulty with
He
the
had no
Prime Minister,
difficulty with the prime minister.
as
And
long
why wouldn't they support them
when
if
he
the
is
government already say what they're going to
they're
do?
going to do, and and they're not, as far as we understand, they're not doing that.
They ain't doing it,
They haven't done it yet.
but they say they're going to do it.
Now that's a difference.
So let's still support them. I personally don't agree with that, Professor.
Is
and
he
Mr.
saying that
Uh-huh.
is the reporter asked him if he's still going to support the government if they don't fulfill their part of the bargain?
Before I answer that, I don't know what he's saying, but here's what Hyla's saying. Obie Ferguson could not be further removed from Sir Randall Fox in terms of words and actions.
Okay.
Mr. Obie Ferguson, KC, is so far away from Clarence Bain.
Well,
And-
how could he get out on a limb like that?
Professor,
These are your forefathers who came before you.
and he know what they did.
He knows, he has all the evidence.
He know their position.
Gee.
He knows the way. But his actions are not the action of his predecessors.
No, it's not.
His words are not the words of his predecessors. This is why I arrived at the conclusion he is unlike the spirit and foundation and forefathers of the labor movement.
Man, them fellas were heavy. They wasn't playing at all.
No, they wasn't playing.
Not Sir Randall
How
Fox.
you think we get where we going?
Well, that's how we were able to achieve these things that
Professor,
we have.
I'll say more after the other clip, unless you have further comment, Professor.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm hearing Brother Ferguson,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna try to see if I could get him on the show.
Mhm.
But the point is, I believe that there has to be more from the TUC
Yes.
rather than hearing here and a little here and a little there. I
Yes.
think they have to be more conclusive in what they say. I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you're online.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi,
yes,
good day.
caller. Yeah, good day.
Yeah, good evening, Professor.
Yes, sir.
And welcome to your guests.
Yeah, that's
Hi,
what
good day.
Hyla.
Aye.
The only problem we have presently is that of the Haitian priest, voodoo priest.
Mm.
They come and they all have their little altars all over the place.
Mm.
And it's a sad day.
Mm.
And until we decide we're going to march, until we decide that we're going to say enough is enough, until we decide that all of those persons who are here to send them back where they come from,
Yes.
nothing will change. You don't have to be afraid. Just go ahead and do it because it's a sin as what is happening to our country presently. And the sad thing about it is persons who are sick, elderly people, were sent home from the hospital, but eventually they found out that the lady was cook for one of the prime ministers, and they
Okay.
readmitted her in the hospital. But how in Jesus' name you can send out a 75-year-old woman who has paid her dues,
Yes.
cook for our prime minister, and do everything that you don't want to give her care?
No,
You know,
I
thank
think
you.
thank you, caller. That's a serious matter there. I think the caller has no reason to mislead anybody. What do you say, Brother Hyla?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
anywhere
sad state of
we
affairs.
have a lack of care, especially when somebody is in a compromised position,
Yes.
and whether it's the elderly, the indigent, sickly, if they are not given the proper care,
Yes.
then they are not in a good environment
No, they're
at
not.
all. Yeah.
They're not. And I am very disappointed to see that this is happening with our seniors. This should
Yeah.
not be happening. They should
Yeah.
be living their best lives
Definitely.
when they become seniors.
Just quickly, as we take that call, there
Yeah.
was a recent symposium or panel discussion related to the elderly,
yes.
and it came forward that larger amounts of Bahamians are not taking care of their parents.
Now that's a problem. That's a big problem. We
Yes.
got to deal with that one.
Mhm.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Hey,
Yeah, I'm
good
doing
day.
okay.
I was calling earlier. I'm going to be quick because I know you only got a short time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, call
But I
in.
thought it was so vital to what you were talking about.
Mm.
And just about every one of your guests, your callers, I'm sorry, keep bringing the topic back to this spiritual thing.
Yes, and the caller did
Yes.
say to me that we have to pay more attention to it, and I agree with him.
Yes.
Basically, I was looking at it from the political side, which
Yes.
is true. But I heard him, and I think he's correct. We have to really deal with that spiritual element.
Absolutely.
That's in our life.
Because, Professor, let me tell you something. I remember you had a regular caller. He'd call you in the first part of the show, but he stopped because one time you asked, just hang up on him, or just hold him for a second, and he never called back.
Yes.
And I called back and I told you there was a issue the king had, and he asked for his scribes to go out and find out, inquire what the Lord say about what's going on.
Yes.
And the answer came back to him. He said, the God is of anger. And he didn't know how it got this way in the country. He said, the people have disobeyed me.
Yes.
They have, the incense and all that kind of stuff. They've created dolls, graven image against me.
Yes.
You know that kind of talk, right?
Yes.
And he said, because the king had humbled himself to me, he said to him, you will live with your days and join your ancestors in peace.
Yes, that's what I think. I remember that story. Yes.
Yes.
You're
But I'm
quite right.
afraid, Professor, the problem is, that's Josiah the king.
Yes.
The problem is, I'm wondering, have we passed that right now? Are we going, is this man, it was Penman the one who, Elo Penman the one who prayed and cried to the walls and say, Lord, forgive me? He said, you go good, but your people, y'all gonna get it from here on in. And since then, we have declined with every prime minister to the worst one right now.
Okay.
That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
I believe we got another caller.
Yes. Yes.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
Good afternoon, Mr. Hyla.
Good day. Hi.
I have two comments to make today.
Make
You know,
them brief
if I
for me.
lived in Nassau, I would be at that airport every day with Bahamas there every time they have those flights going out to Haiti. Because we hear about the numbers that are coming in,
Wow.
but who's monitoring at the airport to see who's getting on board to go out?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we don't even know if these people go back. Now, you have the situation with this young lady, the 28-year-old who was living in a house, who apparently just came to the Bahamas, give birth while she was here, have application for work permit. You know, you got 15, 18 people living in one house. I just don't understand what our government is doing. And everybody is so silent. Nobody's addressing the situation. The Prime Minister says nothing. Mr. Pintown has never uttered the word immigration. And I've been listening and watching out for him. He says nothing. You know, he always arguing about things in the past. He shows no future leadership. He has no future, even current events to comment on. It's beyond me as to what's going on in this country.
Yeah.
The violence No one would even get on the TV or the radio to address it.
Yes,
And I mean, the people in authority,
yes,
people
ma'am.
who we have voted in the House, they say nothing. Mr. Professor, if you look where America, their representative operates, I mean, the Democrats speak out against Democrats, Republicans speak out against Republicans, and even the president. But you never had one PLP person, MP, speak out against Mr. Davis.
No, they haven't.
Not one.
Yes, ma'am.
You have never heard an F&F representative speak out up against whoever the prime minister is on the F&M side. Not one. You know,
Yes, ma'am.
they just silent.
Very much so.
Why do we need y'all in the House of Assembly to be silent?
But this is basically what you get when you give a particular political party such a massive landslide of seats as happened in the last general election. That's a mistake.
Professor, Bahamian people, when you hear Bahamian people aren't saying anything and they silent, I mean, we have had enough.
Okay.
We're just so tired, we're upset, and we're going to make a move.
Okay, well, thank you
We're
very
going to
much.
make a move this time,
Thank
and
you
we're
ve-
going to be surprised.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Brother Handy. You want
Well,
to add to that?
Professor, I agree with the caller. The Bahamian public is tired, and it is very strange that you don't hear much opposition to things that are happening.
No, you don't.
So we have an official opposition, but
Yes.
what is the opposition opposing? What are they opposing?
That's a good question that you asked.
What they are they're supposed to be the check and balance. They're supposed to be the to challenge what is happening
Yes,
on behalf of the public.
that's correct.
That's the first line of serving the Bahamian people.
Right,
If something is happening that's not to their benefit.
right.
What has the opposition said concerning SpaceX? Okay, there's a new flight that
It's
is
gonna
planned
be
for this
tonight
evening,
at 7:30.
7:30 tonight,
And they're flying over Bahamian airspace.
over Bahamian
And
airspace.
they got plenty of airspace in the United States. I don't
I-
know what kind of crap this is.
There's a statement. You know what, Professor? Let's listen to the other statement,
Yeah,
and
okay.
let's move to the different subject areas.
Mr. Percy, you could put the other statement on, please.
Yeah.
Quite ready yet.
No.
All right, let me know when you are, Mr. Producer. The point is, yes, we have an official opposition,
Mhm.
which ought to be protecting the interests of the Bahamian people
Right.
when the government of the Bahamas goes wrong.
Mhm.
I think he's ready now. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Producer.
Be diluted by politics. Because the minute your relationship with the politician goes south, there's going to be some sort of conflict.
So the BPSC will be to the neighborhood.
Oh, certainly in full force. But we also understand that the Minister of Labor and Public Service, they have now purchased shirts for public servants that we represent to have a separate grouping. I am of the view that that is conflicting. I have spoken with the permanent secretary who indicated that yes, they did. And I would have spoken to her and laid an analogy out and asked her to view it. And now she agrees with the position that we would have taken. And so again, Labor Day in this country is for the workers of this country and not to be politicized. Last year, Mr. Obie Ferguson was walking hand and foot with the Prime Minister, draped in colors.
That's interesting. Well, but I don't. Go ahead.
Professor, you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, the last part.
You
Draped
think
in colours.
you think Sir Randall Fox would have been representing the public before he joined the parliament to fight for labor? Do you think he would have been hand and foot with those who were not doing the workers right at the time?
No, he would not.
So now we have two major union leaders, you could say, squaring off.
Yes.
So they're not on one accord. The TUC, the Trade Union Congress, the BPSU with Kingsley Ferguson.
Right.
So
is he a part of the TUC, VPSU?
Professor, I don't think so.
We know it's public. Now, these shirts that were bought, were they political shirts?
Professor, if it come from the government, if it come from the minister,
secretary bought them.
Huh?
Say the Parliament secretary bought them.
But the attempt was to have a separate grouping.
That's what he said.
So that means it's not labor. That means it's political.
So they will have a separate grouping then. From some of his union members would be there.
That's what it sounded like.
What I'm getting, if I understand him correctly, representing the Crabs, the PLP party.
That's what it sounds like.
The BPSU is one of the largest unions.
Yes.
The Bahamas Public Service, they have a lot of members. So what is happening is the party is using union members for political purposes by having them do the crab walk.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what I'm getting.
That's what it looks like.
I understand him correctly.
He started out by saying, do not dilute.
Do not dilute, yes.
Labor Day or the labor movement.
Right.
So now you have the government or the politicians now buying shirts, and we don't know what else. Whether refrigerators or what else. We don't know what is being bought. But we know that it seems to be an attempt to buy favor, if not votes. You know, Labor Day is for the labor movement, for the workers.
Yes, workers.
Not for politicians to come. And the claim is being made that this administration is officially starting their campaign on that day.
That is correct, yes.
I have a question.
That's what I understand is going to happen.
Professor, we have reports coming out of Norman's Key related to the workers, the plight of workers.
Yes.
Living in tents, inadequate medical care.
Wait.
Living in tents.
Slow down a bit. Say that again now. Workers living in tents?
Bahamians living, I saw the pictures.
Okay.
Living in tents out in the elements working for the luxury resort.
Oh, what kind of nonsense?
But they're in tents. No medical care. Questionable hours. Not being
what we have come to?
Not being paid for overtime. And that's only Norman's Key.
Yes.
We also have the Norwegian cruise line situation over in Great Stirrup Key in the Berry Islands. We have reports of many letters going into labor, but not getting any response. Now look where the Minister of Labor is, bringing T-shirts and trying to get everybody to sing and dance and do whatever else. But where was the Ministry of Labor when it comes to taking care of the concerns of the workers on those islands? They say they're waking up to 60 hours a week.
That's what the lady said.
That's against the labor law.
It is.
And we had a newspaper headline saying heads will roll. That was on the front page of the newspaper.
That's what Mr. Thompson had said at that particular time.
Professor, that's why I say all bark and no bite. That's why I said that.
Yeah, I remember you making that comment.
Yeah, they barking. All heads are going to roll, doing the Bahamian workers wrong. And as soon as the cameras shut off, as soon as the crowd dispersed, they shut off as well. Where's the heart for the people?
The lady said the Bahamian people are tired. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes,
they may be tired. But what are we prepared to do about it? Because, see, this is where I have a problem with our people. What is the course of action you're prepared to take? You see, I'm not getting a clear answer on that. And this is why I am concerned about strengthening people on the ground. I've been at this from last July the 8th of last year. And I said to the Bahamian people, there are some specific things you have to do in order for change to occur.
Definitely.
Just being tired, just being sleepy, just complaining is not going to do. So we have another call?
Yeah, we could squeeze in another call.
Let's get it in right now. Then caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, I had to call back.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hyler,
Good day, sir.
listen, man. Again, these governments that's been in prior, and especially the existing one, you just stand, we must just stand by and watch the self-destruction. They're going to self-destruct. They are exposing themselves and don't even realize it. And but we, as the people, we got to open up our spiritual eyes and see the self-destruction. Everything what glitter is gold.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's all I want to say.
Okay.
caller. Thank you very much. What he said.
Facebook is lighting up also. We agree, I believe, with the caller. We have comments coming off of Facebook. One person says, I was blind and now I see, says the blind man.
Okay.
Ms. Cash is saying, I cry shame on my member of parliament, Mrs. Pia Glover Roll. One and done. That's what that particular.
Now, is she the Minister for Labor?
Yes.
And the Public Service?
Yes.
And
yes.
Mr. Obi Ferguson was saying this was a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I heard him say that on the radio.
Right. So, and another comment, union leaders are sitting back, allowing the Bahamas Prime Minister, Philip Davis, and his political party, the PLP, to hijack the Labor Day March to launch their election campaign. Say, I'm watching this one. That's what one person is saying.
Okay.
Another person is saying, I agree with the caller earlier. We are harboring the Antichrist spirit and being unequally yoked with gods that are not the one true God.
No, that is a problem.
Yeah.
You're going to have to speak to that
Right.
issue.
Another person saying most of the people in Grand Bahama are falling for the same old thing. What they say and what they will do if they get back in. Hotel sold again. How many times do you sell the same hotel?
Yes.
Related to eggs early in the conversation, one person said the only eggs you will ever see is a duck egg in school, and that means F. You fail, so they get a duck egg.
Okay.
Brother Thompson saying, Brother Hyler, something has to be done. The government is in full control of the Constitution. Say, please,
hold on.
Say,
what did he say?
Say they are in full control of the Constitution.
What do you mean by that?
Please tell me what we can do. I am very frustrated with the government.
But I'll ask that caller to call me
and bring that up.
Bring that up because I'd like to talk to him about that because the people got to understand the purpose of the Constitution. It's to control the government.
That's what it's supposed
to do. Not
the
government in control of the Constitution. Come on.
One more person.
Got this thing wrong.
One more person trying to squeeze the call in.
Okay, caller, you're live on here. Go ahead, please.
Professor.
Hey.
And to your co-host.
Why are you so late, man?
How you calling so late? 7. I was out there doing something. But only one question I want to ask. Yeah, only one question I need to ask. The nation at large, you and your panel, the nation at large. The PLP just was in office prior to the Free National Movement, right?
Yes, that's correct.
When we had the Sandals tobacco, right? That's Obi Ferguson, where he was. All of a sudden now he's so gung-ho in doing what he's doing where he was back then. That's my question for today.
Wow.
That's an interesting
question.
Yeah,
so as it was in the past, and it's the same thing again now, everybody marching and campaigning, Professor. But where even the aspirants, what are they doing or showing that they're looking out for the people? We got to leave it there for the day. All the stuff, SpaceX this evening at 7:30. Professor, the Bahamas junior doctors signed a contract with the government.
I'm glad I heard about
the senior doctors ain't get straight.
They ain't get straight yet? They maybe got to go on strike again.
Well, the TUC leaders say, why not support them? They say they're going to do something for us. They say.
And the doctors, the senior doctors, I think they're working along with TUC, if I'm not mistaken. But the junior doctors are.
Yeah.
I know that. Okay, I can have to stop here.
Yeah.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Thank you very much for participating. We had a lot of calls coming in toward the end of the show. Bahamians, continue to listen, continue to support the show. We thank you very much for your contribution. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Bahamians, play safe, stay well, and let's trust God to help us to save the country. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant afternoon.